We are local.
The international community is observing Thursday.
Just finished taking
When the main market is in chaos, people
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken it to by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
The November 2025 Anambra State Governorship election is truly gearing up, with INEC releasing the final list of candidates, political parties unveiling female flag bearers, and campaign truly underway. Amid calls for fairness and increased voter participation. Well, this morning we're discussing latest developments on Anambra November 2025 elections, governorship election. Our guest is Caleb Festus Okeke in UB. He's a broadcast journalist and an analyst. He joins us via Zoom. Good morning, Caleb. Can you hear us clearly?
Good morning, Shigi. Good morning, Nigerians.
Great. Kanuzu Nnewi, it's good to hear your voice this morning.
Yeah, good to see you too. It's been a while.
You can say that. So let's get into the conversation for the day. So a lot has happened towards the elections, November elections in Anambra State. You did see that there are 16 political parties that met INEC's guidelines, and of course, so many other new things coming up, the female flag bearers and some other issues. Would you say that this phrase is in line? So far, so good, looking towards the elections in November for Anambra State. What are your thoughts?
All right. Well, it's that very close to the election. Yet to hear the issue of Mr. Governor Charles Ludo are not even participating, in this upcoming election. Their activities have been almost insignificant in terms of scale. I remember in 2021, when there was an election in Anambra State, we knew how, participatory it was. Maybe because at that time, there was no incumbent. Everybody was trying to get to the seat for the first time. Why I'm saying is that as much as there are 16 candidates in this race, only two or three seem to be doing anything, that can count as running for governorship. And namely, of course, the ruling APGA has been everywhere, the governor. Then you would look at the Chief George Moralo, who is also, making some semblance of efforts. And then you have Nicholas Okachukwu of the APC, who I think with the kind of federal might and federal resources available to him, I don't think he's scratched the surface in terms of his campaign ability of his other person who is running. The 16 is just on paper, because these are the people who we can see the activities on the ground. The ADC is meant to be the coalition party. It's a sad thing that the candidates have not seen activities anywhere, not even on the news feeds. It's almost as if they are running for local government chairman or running for. The activities are at a very small scale. Look at a state like Anambra State. You will think that somebody who's running for governor, there's a level of scale of activity the person should be able to initiate, especially when we are now 2 months to the election. Election is happening exactly on 8th of November. Today, this is already September 6th. So you find that it's September 7th rather. It's almost 2 perfect months to the election. So yeah, with what I've seen on the ground, 16 candidates on paper by INEC, but only 2 to 3 on the ground in Anambra State.
Concerns that there is not much activity going on as it should, given by what you've seen earlier before now. But what other causes, in your own analysis, would you attribute this, lackadaisical attitude to campaigns? What would you say are the roadblocks or the causes of this, downturn, or, for lack of a better word, in campaign activities towards the election?
Okay, I would just extrapolate my answer from the recently concluded Anambra South senatorial by-election, wherein the citizens seem to have totally lost faith in their leaders. And at this material time, it has now dawned on the politicians themselves that the citizens are now accepting a tradition of for my votes. I had earlier talked about the elections in Anambra State on the 16th of August, where there was an open bazaar. So maybe in my mind, maybe these candidates haven't seen what happened on the 16th of November, where all their campaign and noises did not materialize into votes. There are candidates who did not secure up to 100 votes in the election. Doesn't mean they did not go around. So maybe they are waiting to now participate in the bazaar of buying votes on 8th of November, because that's the only way I can make sense of what is happening. For example, the APC candidate, like I said, has a lot of both resources and people, being that that's the ruling party at the national level.
The matrix of today, the matrix national daily, carried concerning the Anambra 2025 governorship elections, talking about Soludo, the APCA candidate. It says Soludo unveils 489-member campaign council ahead of Anambra poll. Now, what are your thoughts on on this arrangement? You think is overly populated, or you think well, he's on the right track? What are your thoughts, really? Because you did say that others are acting as though the elections are coming next year, but this seems like someone who is intentional. What do you think? You think APGA will carry the wins at the end of the day? What do you think?
Well, this election is APGA's to lose. There is in Anambra State a deeply entrenched mechanism of the APGA party. So Governor Soludo unveiling a 400 and something numbered campaign organization is not too much. It's also not shocking, because the APGA has held sway in Anambra since 2003. So 2006 rather, because that was when we became on board. So since then, it's been almost 20 years of APGA holding sway in Anambra State. And they're on ground. So if the campaign council is that much in number, I don't think it's too much. I think that not just him, I think that the APC candidate has also published his own list of campaign council. But it's not the campaign council, not the number of people in the campaign council that matters, because I'm very sure that also the Labour Party, Chief George Moala, had about 2 months ago, or even a month ago, published his own campaign council. It's about the management of the campaign itself and how much visible candidates are, in leading up to the election. I'm saying that the governor himself, Governor Soludo, knows for a fact, because due to the attitude of his fellow contenders, he knows that this election is his to lose. And so, if I were him, I would take very serious steps, to ensure that the election does not go any other way than is already pointing towards. Because if you ask me, if the election were to be today, it will be a landslide victory for Governor Soludo, because of the attitude of his co-contenders, who are not really. I don't see the enthusiasm in their message, and also don't see the enthusiasm in the activities whatsoever. So this is a wake-up call to them. If they start now, it's almost 2 months to the election. Maybe they can make some impacts, before the election comes. I should also note that in Anambra State, there is the issue of multiple stakeholder involvement in elections. You know that Anambra State is a state that has a lot of people who are of affluence, and so you know that these people would have interest in all these campaign councils. So they will all put their own people, be part of the campaign council. So the large number of people on campaign council, I don't think is an issue. Anambra is a state of 21 local governments. If on the 21 local governments, we are getting just 400 and something people, I don't think that's too much. But what is very important is to see the impact of this organization, no matter how large or how small.
All right, you did put out in your submission that there's a general lack of trust for the political class by the electorate. Now, does this translate in any way to continuous voter registration, the numbers? Does it directly reduce the numbers of, voter registration? Is there any evidence at all to point towards, lack of trust, by the electorate?
Oh, there is sufficient data to point towards a lack of trust by the electorates. In Nnewi North, where I live and where I'm from, where I vote, the last elections that we had in 2021, this one was the House member election. The House member in Nnewi North won his election by 20 votes and some fractions. In the last Anambra South senatorial election, the same Nnewi North had only 9,000 votes. Only 9,000 votes, down from almost 30,000 votes he had in 2021. What does that tell you? That tells you that people are disenchanted with our elections. And I can point to the activity or to the recent events that really caused this level of disenchantment, because when voter participation reduced from almost 30,000 to a bare 9,000 and fractions, it tells you that the system took a very serious hit. I'll recall that in 2024, precisely on September 28th, the governor, Governor Charles purported to have held a local government election for local government chairmen and the council and councillors. That election was one election that, dealt a very big blow on the trust electorates placed in our electoral system. The election was organized by IANSEC. And I can tell you that the election was not, the voting did not happen in that election. So people are still looking at our electoral process somehow. They are still saying, what is the need of coming out? The last time they came out in September 28th, the ballot boxes were nowhere to be found. In the evening, at the end of the election, I can only speak for Nnewi North, 96,000 votes were declared by the ruling APGA as votes they garnered from only Nnewi North. In contrast, in the last senatorial election, the same Nnewi North that produced 36,000 votes only produced 9,000 votes. Shigi, I don't know what that means, if this makes sense to you. And what you think is happening. Happening is that people no longer trust politicians. The chicken is coming home to roost, because that's affecting the campaigns. For them realizing that the citizens are no longer interested in what they have to say, don't have the boldness, to keep going around. So probably they are waiting to further entrench the culture of buying votes and voting auction on election day. So I think that is what your question as to how electorate changed over time. Between what happened in 2021 and what happened in 2024 during the local government election, and what happened just last August 16th, you would see that indeed from 21,000 in 2021, about 30,000 in 2021 votes in one local. I'm using Nnewi North as a case study. So in almost 30,000 votes in 2021. In 2024, votes were not cast at all anywhere. Yet, the leading APGA, APGA, declared 96,000 votes. In the same vein, last month, only 9,000 votes from the same local government. So what does it tell you? The data is not consistent. It's not consistent, and there's a reason it's not consistent.
All right, it's really a very sad development in Kanuzuneri. But then, looking ahead, what does this development mean for the Nigerian, democracy?
Well, it means that democracy is fast going into developing into something. I don't want to give a name to it, so that Nigerians should look at our democracy this way: a democracy wherein people campaign, and they are given offices, and they run their 4-year tenure, and then whether they do well or not, they feel an imperative to share money when they are running for elections, for re-election or for the election. Any democracy where money is being used to induce voters, I don't see if that qualifies still as a democracy. I don't know if the English who brought this democracy to us have a name for the kind of thing we are practicing. It's definitely not democracy, because with all the reports, Governor Soludo has been talking about his strides in government. His party resorted to being the highest bidder in the last election, in the last by-election, in order to secure the Anambra South senatorial seats and also the Odisha 1 constituency. They resorted to being the highest bidder. Now, what that tells you is this: if they had to do that, and other parties also, of course, not just them, other parties also participated in the vote buying. It was widespread. What then happens to goodwill? So Governor Soludo's goodwill was not able to carry his party. And the same thing for every other politician who participated, their goodwill or their integrity or whatever thing. Democracy runs on trust. The people have to trust individuals who participate, who lead, who run for offices. It is on that based on that trust that they give them their mandates to rule over them. Where the trust has been eroded and has been now been replaced by material inducements, Shigi, I doubt if we are still practicing a democracy. Maybe the name is not yet has not been coined for what we are practicing, but I'm very sure we're not practicing democracy.
Interesting. What are your thoughts concerning the two parties that have actually fielded female governorship candidates, and I think about 6 others, deputy and governorship candidates? You think this is a welcome development? How will it actually help with governance and democracy in Nigeria? I don't want you to take it from the aspect of feminism or women participation, or I just want you to look at it from a logical point of view. You think women participation will give us the I'm thinking of the word now, will give us the needed progress and that we expect to see in our politics? What are your thoughts? Okay,
let me say that Anambra is still the only state in Nigeria where a female has become governor. It's in that same state that we are now having female parties giving their tickets to females to run. So we are no strangers to women participating in the politics here in Anambra State. Matter of fact, there was a time of the 3 senators we had in Anambra State. In Anambra State, yes, 2 were females. So Anambra has always been a state where women participation in politics has been very visible. So as to females running, I believe that so many Anambra women have also distinguished themselves, in national assignments. You recall the likes of Dora Akunyele. She's from Anambra State. You recall the likes of one other party too has a female. I think the Labour Party, yes, Labour Party. George Mogalo's deputy is also a female. And then with these 2 other ones, I believe that Anambra women are not ones to ask you to give them opportunity. Anambra women are not ones to ask for opportunity. They are ones to take their opportunities. And what you are seeing is the Anambra women taking their opportunities you know, and it can only get better from there.
All right, Nkanuzo Enugu, thank you so much for your time, and we do wish you the best. We wish your state the best come 2025 November in your governorship election. Thank you so much for your insights.
All right, thank you so much, Shiki. Thank you, Nigerians, for listening.
All right. Don't go anywhere. New Day continues after now. Do stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.